Okay, so this is going to be a basic guide on how to use the survival book, survival guide. I'm going to try to make it as quick as I can. I've tried this a couple times now. I can't. The last couple times were 40 minutes and then 30 minutes. I'm going to try to get it down to 20. It's definitely a lot to cover in a short video, so I'm probably going to talk really fast and skip some stuff. But here we go. Okay, so you got your survival guide here. Anytime you're anywhere in the survival guide, obviously you have these 4 options. You can also come over to the left here, right here, and click on that, and that takes you to the main index, like table of contents. Look at this stupid bitch. Stupid ass. Alright, so should we hold this for the whole video? Alright, so let's start. Basic fire and bonfire. So those are 2 breakable fires. They will break after a certain period of time. I think basic fire you only get to light it once. Bonfire is like 3 times. Bonfire is that big one. You've seen this before. Any fire once lit will draw the attention of cannibals. Standing fires, I don't really use these that much unless I want something to light my flaming arrows on fire with, but I can light those with my lighter too, so they're not super useful. They're more aesthetic. Fire pit's the main one I use. This one is going to last forever. I mean, it'll break if you have building destruction on, which I need to make sure is off. That's how you turn that off. Temporary shelter. So this is this one. I think you've seen this one before. This one is good for saving, but it's kind of temporary. As soon as you sleep in it, it's going to break in the morning. So you can save at it indefinitely. You can only sleep in it once. Hunting shelters, typically the one I use. That's this one here. That's the one I use until I have a cabin built and can put an actual bed in it. Look at this stupid ass. Already killed 2 animals. Small cabin, 13 logs. Not very special. You can save in it and sleep in it without a bed, but I mean, boy, let me get some laps in here. Oh boy. So I don't really like that. And I would never ever recommend using the log cabin. This is like one of the most expensive fucking things. This takes 89 logs. And this is what you get for it. Tiny little room with magazines on the floor. Was that supposed to be a makeshift bed? I never realized that. Got your little magazines to lay on, nice and comfy. And your Coupon Air pillows. I didn't realize the airline we flew on was called Coupon Air. That's fucking rich. Also, during the day, I turn my brightness down to just over half, and at nighttime I turn it all the way up, or if I'm in a cave that isn't lit up. So a little tip there. The contrast in the game and lighting is just garbage, so yeah. Gardens I don't really use. The rest of this, you know how this works. Stick holders, log holders, and rock holders all have 2 variants. A lot of things in the game have variants. So you got your small one, or you can press R1 to make it big. This holds 20 sticks, this holds 40 sticks. Log holder, this holds 6 logs, that holds 12 logs. Yes, they're more expensive, but why you'd want a 6 log holder, I don't know. And then rock holders, I don't know how many of these hold. There's just fucking rocks absolutely everywhere in the game, so I don't see the need to store them. Log sleds, you know what those are, just don't have too many of them on the map at any time. They will start to lag the game. I try to keep 1 per base. Weapon racks, those are good. You can put weapons on them, but then they're not in your inventory anymore, and you have to either take it off of there or go get another one, so I don't really see the point. Explosive holders is for dynamite, head bombs, sticky bombs, shit like that. Large cabinets, you've seen these before. These are useful for holding alcohol, medication, snacks, shit like that. Skin racks, those are good for holding animal skins. A lot of stuff, especially at the beginning of the game, takes animal skin, and you don't want to waste it. Bone baskets, these are great. These hold like 70 bones, I think, somewhere around there. But they take 21 sticks to make, and the max you can hold in your inventory is 20 sticks. So every basket is going to take at least 2 trips. Same with the arrow basket. I think that holds 60 or 80 arrows, but that takes 25 sticks. Okay, now into building. So whenever you're building, let me find a good spot here. So this is how building works. You click, and then you can stretch it as long as you want it. And that's going to work for logs, fences, walls, defensive walls, stuff like that. But just for example, now you can always add custom floors to structures that you build like this, but they have to be complete, so it has to circle back around to where it started. And there is a way to make things square. So everything will have like a snapping feature. You can see that, how it's snapping there. It's 90 degrees, so that's perfectly square. Or you can snap to 45 if you want an 8-sided cabin for some reason. But let's build it there. Then you have to be a little more careful on this side that it's not only snapped but lined up with where it started, so it's not uneven. And then you can build it. So let's go ahead and build that. And playing on creative mode. Just to make this even faster. Alright, so now that that's done, fucker out of the way. Now you can go to custom floor, and it will let you put a floor there because it's a complete structure. But because it's not on flat terrain, perfectly flat terrain, you're going to get these gaps here, which whether that bothers you or not, it's up to you. It bothers the hell out of me, so I don't like to do that. The other thing with building destruction is you can destroy stuff with building destruction turned off. So like for example, you just go to the hole cutter here, and you can put it on almost anything and it will just destroy it. The only thing it won't destroy is the custom floor, the custom roof, and the custom foundation. In those situations, it acts like a hole cutter. So it'll put a hole there. Not a very good one this time, but typically it does better than that. But it'll put a hole there, so like that's useful for like, let's say this is your second or third story of your cabin, then you can run some stairs from down there to up here, and you can have a way to reach your second floor. So that's what that's useful for. It does mean that these things are harder to break. Custom floors, custom roofs, and custom foundations are harder to destroy. You have to destroy them different. So with custom floor and custom roof, as long as you destroy what it's sitting on, it will. See, that broke it. Get rid of these here quick. Whatever. Moving on. The other thing you can do. So there's a way to trick the game and save yourself time and resources. And that is how I build the rabbit traps. So let's say I take it, and you want to keep an eye on how wide you're doing it, because you're going to have to mirror that on the other side. But this is how I build the rabbit trap. So I just make sure I'm snapping. Snap. Why aren't you snapping? What the fuck? There it goes. Okay. Now you gotta make sure it's the same width on the other side. When it's short like this, it's really hard to see where it's snapping. I can barely tell right there. And then complete it. Then you get rid of the middle sections and build the ends. And the game doesn't realize that you've gotten rid of the middle sections, and it will let you put a custom floor down. Boom. So that's how I build the rabbit traps. That's super easy. It only takes like maybe 20 rocks at the most, and like if you do it right, 4 logs, it's pretty easy. And then with building, so this is a little finicky. So custom foundation is one of the more expensive ones in the game. You definitely want to use it on flat ground. Because if you don't use it on flat ground, let's say you build your cabin like right there, you're going to have to build all of these cross beams. They're all going to take logs. And that will add up really fucking quickly. So let's say I end it there. That's what? 152 logs. So you only get 4 to 5 logs per tree. So that's going to take a long time. So build it on flat ground. The other thing about it is if you build it too low, let's say you build it like this, then you're going to have grass clipping through your floor. So I typically like to make it about a foot off the ground. You obviously want to start at your highest point in the area that you want to build. And if you watch, you can keep an eye on when the amount of resources you're going to need is going to dramatically increase. You can see it's adding another support there. So I might put it there. And then how many sections was that? 1, 2, 3. So we'll do 3 here. Actually, I'll do 4 here so I can do the walls better. And snap. Okay, that's 5, 4. And then you the third one is a little trickier because you not only have to watch it snap, but you have to make sure you're going back, you're evening it out with the starting pillar. And that looks about even there. And it's still snapped. And you can save yourself some resources by just completing it on the third wall instead of running it all the way back to where you started. Then you have an open section here. You don't have to worry about putting logs there like you will with these 3 other sides. So that's 63 logs. So that saves myself a lot. And the other finicky thing is going to be stairs. Stairs are probably the most finicky thing in the game. Just because they are just not well designed. But as you can see, your platform that you build perfectly level isn't really all that level. The game treats it like it is, but aesthetically it's not. And you can kind of get hung up on these ones that are jutting out if you don't put your stairs in a good spot. So let's put our stairs here. And you want it to be just a little bit above, like an inch above the floor, because it's going to drop back down. The other thing to keep in mind with stairs is that's about as long as you can build them before it's going to put a platform at the top. And that platform will backtrack into your cabin. So, depending on how you want it to look. Okay, so I'll put it about an inch up. Really good, right about there. And now I'll put it like that. Stairs are expensive too. Like, even though these are only half logs, for each stair it counts them as a full log. 1 log, 2 log, 3 log, 8 logs. So those can add up pretty quick. So that's pretty good. You want to make sure that the top stair is going about halfway into the foundation. If you do it even like this, let's say you do it like this, and you're going to get this gap here, and he's going to want to get stuck in it. See? can't. I'm trying to walk forward right now. There we go. So it has to go in a little bit. It can't go in too much, though. So otherwise, you're not going to obviously be able to get up there. So it's a little finicky. Okay. Let me get rid of those two. I don't want. Now, once you've completed your foundation for anything like this, and you go to sticks, or you go to fencing or custom walls, it's going to offer you the option to auto-complete. But I don't always like the way that lines up. As you can see, it's not really lined up with the stairs. So I like to do it manually. Plus sometimes it wastes space, like it might have. Especially with the fencing. I might put the fencing like right here. And you've got like a foot and a half of wasted space. That could be interior space that you have more room to play with. So I pretty much always do fencing and walls myself. And the way you do that, go to custom walls, push square, and that will let you manually do it. It's the same with fencing. And so I think in order for a door to be there, it has to be about that wide. Maybe a little less wide than that. That looks pretty good. Okay. And then the rest of it I don't care as much about, so I'm just going to quickly do it. I try to go as far to the corner as I can without it starting to bug out like that. See how it's like wiggling a little bit? That means it's probably not going to place right. Once it's stable, then you can place it. And then press X to finish. And then you can go up to each one and cycle the variants. Variants being window, door facing in, door facing out, blah blah. So we're now going to put our door here. That's lined up much better. That might catch on the stair though. Guess we'll see. Throw some windows in here. Okay. Did that finish? No. And then the roof is pretty easy. It's just really log expensive. You just press X, and then it'll let you raise and lower it. I wonder if you can actually do that. I don't think you can. But I typically like to put it about right there. It always looks a little bit higher on the outside. But like this takes exactly 100 logs. And it's actually being pretty fair. It's pretty easy, because if you watch, it's only building about half of them. And then it just finishes it. So, roofs are expensive. But there you got yourself a cabin. I am explaining in quite a bit of detail. It's actually pretty simple. You know, it's kind of idiot-proof unless you really boo-boo it. Platforms, so like let's say I wanted to get up on the roof without building a set of stairs up there. Or I want to get to the top of my base without building a set of stairs. I can build a platform, and then I can go over to climbing rope. Throw a rope on there. The rope does have a limited length, but I think the platform's got to be like that high for it to start tapping out. So then you can climb up that. And there you go. Now you're up on the roof. Granted, the platforms are a little expensive, you know, because you're building all these cross beams. Each cross beam is a log. So that's why I don't use those a ton. Fences is another video. Let's see. Another thing you can do with platforms that I don't really like to do is you can stick them up against a natural wall. And you can attach a rope to it, or you can attach a series of platforms, let's say. It's just hard to get. If it gets too high, it's hard to get logs up to them. And then you go to tree bridge. and pop that on there. The reason I don't really do that, I'll show you. So let's pop a climbing rope on there, climb on up. Is because they did not design them well. So you're going to get caught on this ledge every fucking time for every fucking platform. Might even get stuck on this one too sometimes, so I don't like to use those. Can we sleep? Good, we can sleep. And then I think that's pretty much it. Custom stick marker. This is how you put up flags around the map so you can find your way. This one's a nice pink. I don't really like to use the pink though because the log cart has a pink flag on it. And then of course you can do it on that one and that just turns it off. So you don't have a marker. Which why you would want a markerless marker, I don't know. Zip lines. So zip lines are a little finicky. Problem with them is if you're doing them from one spot to another spot and those two spots are relatively the same height, there's no good way to tell until you are completed building it which side is considered the top and which is the bottom, because they're one way. So this is the bottom here apparently. Even though it kind of looks like this could be the upper spot, it's not. And there isn't really a good way to tell. I think that took about 5 or 6 ropes. The maximum length will take 15 ropes, so they can be about triple this length, so they can go pretty far. Typically, though, I don't really build them on flat terrain like this. It's usually, you know, like from up there to down here or something. So I don't have to worry about that. Cranes. Cranes are kind of complicated, but you want to make sure this little rope thing on the right here is facing out, so you can raise and lower it. And that's as high as you can get it to go from the ground level. If you want it to go higher, then you have to get to higher ground, but you have to have this part already placed, like I have now. And then you make your way up to higher ground, and it'll let you go higher with it. As you can see, like, even just going that high with it, that's tapped out. But if I jump, it lets me go a little bit higher, but that's how that works. I don't really use tree zip lines just because they're hard to see. And if you cut the tree down, it's gone. Let me try this. I never actually used these. Where'd it go? You can go up and down with that. Interesting. I think this is the higher side. Should probably use those more often, but whatever. Problem is they're just, you know, if you don't know exactly where it is, you're never going to find the fucking thing. Wood benches and chairs are good for sitting on. They will replenish your stamina. So will the cassette tape player. And they actually replenish it pretty quick. I can't really show you on here because I'm a creative and stamina is infinite. Fireplaces, make sure it's got the hole sticking towards you. But don't build it until you put a fire in it, because the fireplace doesn't come with a fire for some stupid fucking reason. And if you build it before putting a fire in there, you won't be able to get a fire in there. And there you go. Now you got yourself kind of a little bit of a janky looking fireplace, but whatever. Janky game. These I don't really use. I mean, all it does is slap a deer skin on the wall, whatever, or a rabbit skin. Head trophy. This is what I use to attach mutant skulls and animal skulls to. So you can stick them pretty close together if you want. Make yourself a little wall of gore. Birdhouses are useful for gathering feathers. I think they'll hold like 10 apiece. Takes like an hour to fill them or something. But what I like to do is do a custom wall, pop it down, build it. And then just attach a bunch of these to it. And I'll either do 8 or 12, but I'll do, you know, 4 sides. So then whenever I come back, let's say I have 12 down and I get 10 per feeder, then every hour I get 120 feathers. You're never going to have to worry about feathers again. This is where rabbit traps are, right here. They're just expensive. I don't really use these because that uses a bomb and a cocktail. But basically, an enemy goes through it. I wasn't actually expecting that to go off. I didn't think those worked on the builder. I thought they only worked on cannibals, whatever. Leaf pile traps. These are those things that you put a bunch of them on the ground stacked together, and then it'll light that whole area on fire, setting anyone that's in it on fire. So that's how those work. I don't typically recommend lighting it yourself. I like to use either a flare gun, flare, or a flaming arrow to light it, because if you do it like this, more often than not, you're going to set yourself on fire. So, kind of a stupid design. This is where all your traps are. This is where all your traps are. Defensive walls. These you can also run. You cannot build a floor onto them, though. They are only walls. Even if you make it into a square, you're not going to be able to add a floor to it. But you can press R1 to cycle the variants again. So you can have a little single door there, which is nice if you want a little side entrance that's hard to spot. You can barely even tell there's a door there. Little secret entrance. Or you press R1 on 2 sections, and that will give you the gate. The cross beams are always on the inside, so. Catapults, I only really use this for holding skulls. It's just weird to aim. You can't really see where you're aiming that well. But there's no other way to hold skulls, and that can hold like 15, 20 skulls. This is where all your boats are. To-do list. And here's your stats. So your stats, strength and athleticism. I think I've explained a little bit to you before on how this works, but strength is going to be how hard you hit with each swing. So the higher your strength, the less hits it's going to take to kill a cannibal. And athleticism is going to be how many times you can swing before you run out of stamina. How fast and how long you can run. And how long you can hold your breath underwater. And then conditions at the bottom left, you can see it says conditions by my thumb. Keep an eye on this. You should check this page regularly, or else just eat a piece of aloe regularly, like once a day. If it says infected, then you have to eat a piece of aloe to heal. When you're infected, your strength drops, which means it's going to take more hits to kill cannibals. It's going to hit your strength pretty good. So you want to keep an eye on that. I don't really look at it that often. I just kind of eat like a piece of aloe once a day, which, it's easy to find. I just make sure I am also picking up a piece as well, so I'm not running out of aloe. That's about it. I think that's shorter.